All aboard, Lego lovers and train enthusiasts. Today, we're not just taking a trip back in time, we're revisiting an era when Lego's playability was exploding. Minifigures had arrived on the scene a couple of years prior, and the creative juices were absolutely gushing at Lego HQ. A few days ago, we put the awesome 7710 push-along steam train through its paces over on my channel. But what's a fantastic train without a place to pick up passengers? Absolutely no good at all. So today, we're pulling into the platform for a deep dive into Lego set 7822, the train station from 1980. So grab your ticket, get a coffee and a pastry, and let's head to the platform. I'm Lord Paul, and this is Lord Paul's Bricks. Hello, and welcome back to the brick archive that is Lord Paul's Bricks. So where is our train leaving from today? Well, the station, of course. In 1980, this was the place to catch a train. This is set 7822, and today we're going to lay down the foundations and have some serious fun with my deep dive review of this set. But before we dive in, if you enjoy this trip down the platform, remember to give us a like. It really helps the channel keep moving along. And if you want to get notified when the next vintage set gets reviewed, be sure to subscribe and make sure you ring that notification bell. Of course, it's all about the audience, and I always love to hear from you. So feel free to comment or ask questions down below. Did you know that Lego Set has been producing model trains since 1966? That's a massive 59 years of trains. But believe it or not, the first dedicated Lego train station didn't arrive until 1975. That was set 148, and it was a fairly simple affair with those older style statue minifigures. It took another 5 years for Lego to release another train station, and that's this beauty we're going to look at today, set 7822. Launched in 1980, it includes 372 pieces, 3 fantastic minifigures, and we're going to get started with the detailed review. While there are a few train-related sets released with the then new minifigures in 1978, it wasn't until 1980 that Lego trains really did hit the big time. That year saw the release of 5 new train sets and about a dozen support sets, actually probably 24 support sets, thinking carriages, extra tracks, level crossings, and of course, this very station. It really was a golden age for Lego Rail and Lego trains. As for this set, I actually don't remember exactly when I got this set, which is actually a little bit unusual for me because I've got a good memory for some of that sort of stuff. I think it was probably 10 or 12 years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was a rather fortunate find on eBay. But I have to tell you, it really is in excellent condition, and all the required parts, including those precious stickered pieces, are all here. So when it's assembled, it definitely looks 100% original. Sadly though, like a lot of my older sets, I don't have the original box for this one, but what I do have is the original instruction booklet, and it is in really good shape. But the booklet is all business, just instructions for this set. Some instructions that you would have seen from the period on some of my other reviews sometimes showed alternative builds or suggestions for town layouts, but not this one. This one, it's only focused on the build. What's a bustling train station without its busy minifigure cohort? This set gives us 3 fantastic minifigures. We've got 2 dedicated railway employees and 1 very excited passenger. First up, our trusty station master. He's the unsung hero, making sure passengers board and alight safely, and making sure that there are no slackers loitering around the train station. He's sporting a classic blue torso with a jacket, tie, 3-button pattern jacket, matching blue legs, and that iconic red cap. This exact combination of minifigure appeared in 12 train-related sets between 1980 and 1990. The torso itself was a popular choice, used in 38 sets from 1978 through to 2003, and it generally signified somebody in charge. Now, every station needs a handyman or a maintenance guy, and for us, it's this guy. He has a blue torso with a white print showing the shirt and 6 buttons, two pockets, matching blue legs, and that classic red Lego construction helmet. The minifigure in this combination was used in 21 sets from 1980 to 2003, and the torso on its own was used in 54 sets from 1979 through to 2003. A little bit of trivia. The construction helmet that he's wearing is another one of those minifigure elements that has literally stood the test of time. It was introduced in 1978. It is still made today, 47 years later, and has been in 293 different sets. And finally, though, our one and only passenger. Our lovely lady passenger has a red torso, blue legs, and classic black ponytail hair. Clearly, she's excited. She's absolutely beaming with excitement for her big trip on this classic rail experience. Her bright smiley face really does say it all, like the two other minifigures we've got on this set. Now it's time we dig through the inventory of the set and find out the truly unique, the rare, and the wonderfully discontinued parts. But before we jump into specific pieces, I want to chat about a colour, and that colour is light grey. This set has a lot of it. Light grey was a colour that was first introduced in 1954 and was a staple of Lego sets all the way through to 2006. But just prior to it finishing, in 2002, there was an updated grey shade that was introduced, and that's the shade that we are familiar with in sets today. Lego calls the new grey medium stone grey. On Bricklink and other sites, it's known as light bluish grey. It's not this one. The old light grey had a tendency to fade over time, often acquiring like a yellowish appearance. The newer medium stone grey, however, has, with the bluish hue, doesn't seem to suffer from the same fading issues. But fortunately for us today, the light grey pieces that are in this set, like this 6x24 plate, have kept their original shade really, really well, and they look fantastic. Our first unique parts for this set are the two sticker sheets. The first sticker sheet has train timetable stickers, two of them, one for each side of the sign that it makes, and little white stickers with a green dot on them that make the station master's signal paddles. What's cool about the train numbers on the timetable is they are actually set numbers for other Lego trains and carriages that were available at the same time as this back in the early 80s. The second sticker sheet is a chrome silver sheet, and that has the clock faces on them for the station clock. I'm going to call this next piece unique, even though technically it appeared in two sets, and I'll explain why I believe this is unique to this set anyway. It is a 1x6 brick without bottom tubes in transparent red, and the word station is printed on it. This was the only building set for this piece. The other appearance for this set is a supplementary 4.5 volt lighting set, which you could buy and use the lights to light your trains and your station and other parts of your city. These were quite common at the time. But our next rare pieces were almost exclusively used on train-related sets. The first one is a 2x3 tile with a 1x3 bracket plate referred to on Bricklink simply as a train signal stand. This was used in 12 sets between 1980 and 1988. While primarily used in grey for the train sets, it also appeared in white for one very specific Space Futuron set from 1988. Attached to that bracket plate was a 1x16 lattice piece that appeared in 17 sets between 1980 and 1996. For train sets, it was in light grey, but it was also made in white and red for some non-train related sets later on in its life. The third long gone piece used to make the light stands is the Technic axle and pin connector. This was an early Technic piece and was manufactured between 1977 and 2003, and it appeared in 146 sets. These three pieces, along with a Technic axle, Technic bushes, and a radar dish, they come together to make a really cool classic retro light post. And that makes two posts for this station set. Some of my early reviews mentioned this 1x4x5 door with 4 panes, and for good reason. It appeared in a lot of buildings in the 1980s. The first minifigure actually walked through one of these doors in 1978, and the door officially closed on this part in 2007. But it did appear in that time in 171 sets. And white was actually the last colour that this part was produced in. The garage door piece was produced from 1976 through to 2007 and seen in 46 sets. But in white, it was only seen in 6 sets, making it very, very rare in this colour. But you can't have a garage door without its hinge pieces, and this set obviously has got a couple in it. The 1x1x2 hinge brick with tabs for hinging garage doors, and could also be used for shutters, was produced from 1973 through to 2010, but in red it was only produced until 2003. The 1x4x3 window frame from 1978 had 4 tabs on the outside and held shutters, and was used until 2009 in 211 sets. From 2007, though, a new frame was used without the shutter tabs on the outside. The white panes, or these original panes, were introduced in 1978 with the frames, and they were manufactured through to 2009. A couple of years prior to these finishing production, though, a new design was introduced, which had thicker corners on the inner side where they hinged, and that's the design that is still used today. The railway tracks and sleepers that are included with this set are straight, but they only make up a 3-unit length, just as long as the station, really. The 2x8 sleeper in old dark grey that originally came with this set didn't have cable grooves on the underside. These were only used in 1980 and 1981 in 17 sets. And the other version of this piece has the grooves on the underside for wires. So if you were running a 12-volt train set, and you were connecting lights and other signals, you could run the wires down under the brick and it would still sit flat on your table or your board or whatever you set your train up in. So, but that's mostly the version of this piece that I've got in this set. The piece itself is actually like a standard 2x8 plate, but what it has 4 attachment points for the rails. You would use these to attach the rails, and you'd also put one in the center of a rail like that for extra support. And what they did is they gave really, really good support to and solid track structure. The straight rails that are in this set, they only appeared in 25 sets from 1980 until 1995. These have little notches on them that latch onto the snaps on the 2x8 bricks. But that's enough brick history for today. I think it's time we started on our build. I'm really looking forward to putting this set together for you today. It's been a while since I've built this set, and it's a great every now and again to pull out some of these old sets and put them back together and just remind you of some of the classic vintage Lego set charm that a lot of these sets had. So through the build, we start with the foundations of our grand station, which is really the foundations of the platform, using a lot of these 6x24 plates, and there are 11 of those in this set. They form a massive underside of the station. Once the base is complete, we flip it over and secure some track pieces in place. With the track down, we can begin building the second platform and attaching it to the main structure. Now the real station building starts to rise. We add some seats for the waiting area and a counter for the ticket office. And as the station walls go up, we're also building the brick-built stairs that lead up to the overpass. A few more rows of bricks, and we're adding in those classic doors and windows. Then a row of black bricks on the main building there, and some plates for the station roof. And we continue to build up the staircases on both sides as well. Those iconic lampposts I showed you before, they go in with some other platform features, and we complete the staircases. The plate for the overpass gets added, along with some more seats on platform 2. Finally, the signage and the clock are attached. The overpass is finished with some fencing, and just like that, we've got a brand spanking finished train station. It's a straightforward build, doesn't really require any super special building techniques. It's all about that classic brick on brick satisfaction. So let's take a closer look at our finished station. We have our railway workers diligently going about their day. The maintenance guy keeps everything sparkling clean, and the station master patiently waits for the next train. Our passenger lady, of course, she's happily waiting for a train, but I reckon she's probably wondering why there's nowhere to buy a coffee. Maybe that'll come in the first redevelopment of the station, I don't know. If you've got some extra bricks and pieces though, I reckon you could easily expand this station. You could create a longer overpass that would fit 2 tracks in between the platforms. That would allow you to have 2 trains arriving at the station at once. I really like these lampposts. With the 12-watt lighting sets, you could place a lighting brick on the underside of the radar dish and light up your station. They were really cool, and if you're not familiar with it, maybe we'll do a bit of a review specifically on the 12-volt accessories you could get with the trains. Because when you'd attach the light, the wire would fit. You could sort of thread the wire down the lattice and sort of just hook it around, and it looked really, really tidy. But overall, it's a good and practical vintage train station, and as you can see now, it's definitely ready for action. So that's set number 7822, the train station, and now it's time for a review summary. A reminder though, that my reviews are always in the context of when the set was first released, which in this case was 1980. For part selection, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. It has the unique signage, some really useful stickers, and I really absolutely love those classic lampposts. The rest of the parts are pretty common elements for the era. In fact, they're so common that many Lego fans from back then would probably have enough bricks and pieces to put together a station like this from their own collection. But this set boasts some really good playability, and I think it's a 4 out of 5. There's decent space on the platform in and around the ticket office. You could even imagine a small snack bar or a coffee hut opposite the ticket office, but maybe I was expecting too much from a set from 1980. The station that came after this one, set 7822 a few years later, actually included those amenities, so perhaps I'm a little bit biased. Despite that though, it's a solid, functional station that integrates perfectly with your Lego train layout, offering plenty of imaginative play and scenarios. So for minifigures, I'll give it a 4 out of 5 as well. The number of minifigures is good, with 3 included with this set, though you could always do with more for a bustling train station. Maybe a ticket clerk or another passenger, that would have been nice, but the ones we have work pretty well for this scene. I think some printing on the passenger's torso would have been a great addition just to make her stand out just a little bit better. The plain torso is literal out, is plain. So finally, for building enjoyment, it's another solid 4 out of 5. The 11 large 6x24 plates certainly make for a good sized station, but they also create a lot of grey expanse. I think this could have been broken up a little bit if the station roof was black maybe, or even better, if it had a slightly pitched roof rather than just the flat plates. Lego used a lot of the angled bricks to make pitched roofs in sets back then, and I think it would have been really improved the look and charm of the station if they'd gone down that path with this. Despite that though, there are no really tricky techniques, just straightforward assembly that quickly brings this classic station to life. It's a satisfying build experience. So overall, that's a 15.5 out of 20. And I think that's about right for this set, given that it did come out in 1980. While there were some other buildings of the period that really showed what Lego could create, I think this was a bit of a missed opportunity to become a true undeniable classic, particularly when the trains themselves and so many of the other pieces of the time were just off the charts in terms of imagination and playability and creativity. So there you have it. That's Lego set 7822, the train station. It was the first real minifigure staffed and attended train station, and I think it was a pretty good first attempt though. As I mentioned before, 7824, the set that followed a few years later, that became more of a classic station, and we will definitely be doing a review on that one when I get round to reviewing the later trains. I do have a whole treasure trove of Lego vintage trains and train-related sets still to review. So if you want to know when they pull into the station, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button. There are depots, stations, and many other carriages to look at, and they are going to be a lot of fun. So, did you have this station looking after your train passengers in your vintage Lego town in 1980? Do you have it now? But what I'd like to know, what's your favourite Lego train station that was made before 2000? Let me know in the comments below. I know 7824 was my favourite, so I put my hand up for that one. But I'd like to know if you've got a favourite station before 2000. But remember to like this video, subscribe for more awesome Lego content, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep on building, keep on training, and keep your vintage Lego town expanding. I'm Lord Paul, this is Lord Paul's Bricks, and bye for now.